Hey guys, it's KGOKev, or Kev, as you probably know. And it's time for the long time coming Q&A. I've answered most of you guys' questions that I felt I could to the best of my abilities, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy listening to my responses and getting to know a little bit more about little ol' me. With all that said, let's begin. What originally got you into anime? Anime? Like animation? Like Popeye the Sailor Man? Well, a couple of things. One, I'm Asian. Two, I grew up in the time period when Pokemans and Yu-Gi-Oh, ruled the fucking world. Those were big at the time. Freaking Naruto was making waves around my elementary school. This was also, of course, when anime was becoming more of a public mainstream, especially thanks to Toonami, which was in its golden era, and I watched it religiously. It was Pokemon, then Yu-Gi-Oh, then freaking Naruto, and then Toonami was the ultimate gateway into all the other interests. Thanks to shows like Sailor Moon, Zatch Bell, and Bobobo, if any of you guys remember that amazing, awesome show. And of course, while not anime, like Popeye the Sailor Man, shows like Avatar or Teen Titans were ones that really helped to cultivate that interest. Question from Jada. Favorite and least favorite Danganronpa casts from the main games? I'd have to give the favorite spot to V3. V3's character designs are all really solid overall, and I also really enjoy how they all interact with each other. Most of them play off of each other's different personalities very, very well in my opinion. Danganronpa 1's cast is the least interesting overall, I'd say, which it was the first game. They're the OGs, it's to be expected, and you can't fault them for that. Whereas for Danganronpa 2, there are a lot of standout characters from 2 for me. Chiaki, Mikan, Ibuki, for example, they're the trifecta of waifus. Gundam, Fuyuhiko, Nidai, Sonya, the fingers in his ass guy. It's really lopsided, where one half of the cast has really interesting backstories and are really compelling as characters, and then the other half is just severely lacking, whether because they died really early on, or there's just not much to their character in general. With that said then, yeah, I would say V3 is my favorite / the most solid cast, and then Danganronpa 1 would be my least favorite, but it still has good characters. Kira has a line request. I'll use my trusty frying pan as a drying pan. Alienated 44 asks, how are you doing? Fan-tucking-fastic. From Luna. Ever plan to come down to Texas for a convention?
Yes, I am!
Ray asks, favorite out of the Warriors of Hope? I gotta give it to Kotoko. I enjoyed her chapter the most, as well as her character. She was really funny and also probably the one that I would say I care for the most. She has the best design as well, she's pank. As for my favorite protagonist, well, I really enjoyed Kaede. I really liked her personality and her personalities. She had a really good role in the story of V3 and was just really nice and pleasant overall. And yeah, she's cute, that kind of helps out a little bit. Komaru was also pretty good. And from what I recall from Danganronpa 2, I enjoyed Hajime, his personality, the snarkiness and sass that he would express to the other characters, and how much of a foil / contrast he was to the blank slate boy scout nice guy Naegi from the first game. Yuto Heartlock. Least favorite Danganronpa characters in general. I can't say I'm particularly fond of Hiyoko Sayonji, or Monica, or Haiji Toa, or most of the people from the DR3 anime. I don't think I need to go into why I don't like them. Also Celeste. Cat. Tanara-kun, how does it feel to be Kokichi incarnate? It feels good to have Kokichi inside of me. Tornado Boy, how did you get into Danganronpa? I've been in this fanbase for quite a long time. Before it released in the West and came out on the PlayStation Vita, actually, I was into this YouTube channel known as Retsupre, who were a riff channel on bad Let's Players, their members originating from the site Something Awful, which was also the origin of Let's Play. On one of their podcasts, they were talking about this guy named Onin Ronin, and also this fan / text translation he was doing of this little Japanese game known as Danganronpa. It was a translation of Danganronpa on the PlayStation Portable, because it was originally a Japanese-only PSP game, later ported to the PlayStation Vita for all regions. I was big into Ace Attorney at the time, so it was right up my alley. I checked it out, read from chapters 1 to 6 in a single night, and I've been a fan ever since. Will you do a stream of Punch-Out Wii title defense? That's a big maybe. I mostly said all that I wanted to in my playthrough of the normal game, so unless I get a lot of requests for it, I probably won't end up going back to it. Will you do other modes in Death Road to Canada?
Yes, I am!
From Dapril. Vibe check. Boom. Questions from Zell, who is my bro. Who's your favorite mod? My favorite mod would have to be Inigo, the Khajiit follower for Skyrim, followed closely by Lucian Flavius and also Ari. They're 3 immersive followers for the game, who all have loads of well-written dialogue and overall enjoyable personalities. They comment on in-game quests, your decisions, have conversations with NPCs alongside one another, and all in all end up breathing tons of life into this often repetitive game. Who is your favorite person? Danny DeVito, aka Zell. favorite day.
Carpet Day!
Magenta Sky, favorite Danganronpa character from the entire series. I'll give you 3 for each game. Kirigiri Chihiro Sakura, Chiaki Ibuki Mikan, Kamaru Toko plus character development, and Ball Monokuma, and Maki Kaede and Kokichi for the memes, and also our queen, Chiako Kichi. Broody Boo asks, what has been your favorite game/series to record? It would have to be either Valhalla, or of course the Zero Escape series. Play Zero Escape! I played both of those back in 2018. Those are just 2 games that have stuck with me, and lots of people in my Discord / just community overall, because they're really good. If I were to really enthuse about it all, we'd be here for like 9 hours. Like, I've played some other games or series that, you know, I play once of, and like we don't really ever like go back to or reference them after the fact. An example of this, Sally Face, which, you know, it was cool at the time, but the ending really soured the experience, and now no one really talks about it anymore. And yeah, a lot of the story and characters just didn't end up sticking with me. Not like the characters from Valhalla and Zero Escape. Like Dorothy fucking Hayes. You can definitely tell how much I like a game/series or just anything in general by how much I end up referencing it, or yeah, how much of the experience I end up retaining. Valhalla and of course the Zero Escape series would be my surefire picks. Play Zero Escape! Favorite game/series in general? Zero Escape! I've played a lot of games in my time, and while I can't choose one definitive answer, some of my favorites throughout the years include Saints Row. I'm really mostly only a fan of number 2 though. Mario, Pokemon, Zelda, Smash Brothers, Animal Crossing, basically anything Nintendo. Sleeping Dogs were really good. Skyrim is a game you always come back to. Classic Mega Man, Mega Man X. The first Spyro the Dragon was the very first game I ever played, and is one of those games I can just pop on whenever I want, run through with ease, and have a blast. Disgaea was huge for me as a preteen, and Disgaea 4 really helped me through a really rough freshman year of high school. And then of course you got the visual novels, Ace Attorney, Danganronpa, that other series we've mentioned a couple times before. And then of course for games that we played on stream, Valhalla, Celeste, and of course Chromatos is looking very promising. Your Turn to Die is pretty good, though I do kind of want to hold off on giving it a definitive opinion for when the full game is released. Your favorite fan community/communities? My own community, ooh woo.
Gay!
Do you have a character that you can say is your favorite over everyone else?
No.
From Mina, will we ever get another fanfiction reading? Many bad fanfictions to come from my own personal stash. Brandon asks, do you think Your Turn to Die is more messed up than Danganronpa in terms of executions? I would definitely say so. Other than the obvious blood factor, which, yeah, red is of course definitely a much more scaly color overall than, you know, the color Pepto-Bismol.
Oh yeah!
I'd argue that the violence in Your Turn to Die is much more explicit compared to Danganronpa's. Danganronpa's never gone so far as to showcase a decapitation, for example. In comparison, most of the executions you see from Danganronpa are generally pretty cartoony, especially the ones from Danganronpa 2. Most of the violence that you do see is pretty subdued overall, compounded with the pink blood, of course. A lot of the really messed up implications are not shown or, yeah, implied. So while most Danganronpa executions can be considered pretty horrific, they're not really to the point where most people get grossed out by them. Then again, I am a jaded motherfucker. I grew up with Mortal Kombat and God of War. I'm fucking messed up in the head, so I don't know. While both of the game's executions forces you to sit and watch as the person gets killed, Your Turn to Die has the audacity of giving you false hope, making you think that you have control over the outcome, that there is a possibility to save the person getting killed. You know, whoever they are. Making you think that your actions matter, and just playing with you and your emotions.
Like a damn fiddle!
That's just not cool, man. From Muffin, favorite Ace Attorney character? Gotta give it to Trucy Wright, but I also really enjoy Luke Atme, and of course Godot for his theme. Also, of course, Wendy Oldbag and Larry Butts. Wendy Oldbag x Larry Butts, I ship it. Muffin Buffin. You need some Kai Sato ASMR, you say? My name is Kai Sato, and I like big booty bitches. Question from GT, and also from Muffin. When did you start your YouTube career? I started on YouTube in late 2015, where I did a couple of video game reviews on some games that I really liked or were relevant at the time. The first of which was, of course, Danganronpa. All of these videos suck balls. One of the biggest problems at this time, other than the fact that I sucked major dickage, was that I was covering a multitude of different genres. You know, I was doing games from all ends of the spectrum. From Rhythm Heaven to God Hand to Uncharted to fucking Scooby-Doo. some reviewers can do all different kinds of games, but I was a newcomer, and the market itself on internet game reviewers is already super saturated, so people would have minimal reason to check out my stuff, especially since the uploads were pretty inconsistent and overall very lackluster. Because I was being all over the place and I didn't exactly have a core audience yet, like 1 or 2 videos might appeal to some people, and then every single other video would be not up their alley whatsoever. The lack of focus to one specific niche ended up alienating a lot of people, I would say. No one still had any idea whether or not I would be worth watching at all. And at the end of the day, I really just wasn't that good at it. Now that I'm older and maybe smarter, I've considered going back and doing videos in that style again, but time will tell if we ever do so. After a couple of these crappy reviews, I found a niche doing Danganronpa stuff. In fact, the Meet the Characters segment for Danganronpa 1 was for that Danganronpa 1 review. Because I wasn't exactly getting anywhere at the time, uploads became really scarce, and this would continue until 2017. Until what I would actually consider my proper start, I did a stream of Danganronpa V3. One thing led to another, and now here we are. There are a couple of gems that I do still actually like and enjoy from that initial era. While I do mostly look back at my older stuff with disdain, I don't regret it because it is an important learning experience. Sometimes you gotta fail to know how to do it right, you know? As for when I decided I wanted to do this long term, I would say that that was the intention from the onset. If you want to go way back, I used to be a part of this commentary group known as Optimal Commentaries, which was a startup in the likes of some other commentary groups that were around at the time, like Hellfire Commentaries or Brain Scratch Commentaries. This would be about 2010, 2011 or so. I was really young at the time, and then of course in turn very shy and socially awkward. My commentary wasn't exactly optimal. While I definitely still had a ways to go from that young age, it certainly did spark an interest. I was the head of my TV productions group back in high school. I was one of the ones editing videos together, and I was the one who decided what got put up and shown to the entirety of the school. And yeah, doing all that is definitely one of the things that really made me decide what I really want to do. I'm also definitely an entertainer at heart as well. I like making people laugh, I like making people feel good. My videos then are one of the ways I'm able to express myself in ways that I wouldn't be able to do otherwise. I guess you could say then that YouTube is one of the many possible extensions for that entertainer desire. But yeah guys, we're here now, and I hope to do this for many years to come. Millie Pringle, why are you so perfect? L'Oreal, because I'm worth it. Favorite Overwatch character? Tracer or Genji? I mostly played Reaper though. Favorite part of 2019? Anime Next was pretty fun. So was Otakuthon, and also going to Canada. More cocaine! Looking forward to 2020. Oh, who is Joe? From Ed of Boring Harmonica. Favorite things in your room? Ooh, I cannot just choose 3, friend. Some things I really like include my wall of Smash Brothers amiibo, all in order, my Thanos Infinity Gauntlet. I got that at a GameStop and got into a ton of con shenanigans with it. There's also my load of Pikachus, including the iconic fat-ass Pikachu. My hanging decorations are still pretty sweet. Seesaw, the Tracer standee, one of the best things I got from GameStop when I still worked there. I got this pretty fancy new cup representing my town in Animal Crossing. My wall of fan art, of course, which it is in need of an update, but it is a good constant reminder to me of why I'm doing all this. There's also Ricardo, who I can look to for motivation. Q-Keys 3, what got you into making/editing videos? Very first videos I made were for Optimal Commentaries. The very first video I did was on a dramatic reading of a Kingdom Hearts fanfiction that I did called The Tale of Pluto's Poop. It was in a Skype call. Me and 2 guys, Ryan and MBM, were messing around one day and decided to record the reading of the fanfiction. I fired up Windows Movie Maker, took the audio from that, and gave it visuals. That was the first thing I did, and honestly some of my best work, which I realized I had an enjoyable time doing, so I would continue pursuing video making as a hobby. And also, of course, to help out Optimal Comms. Even though I was bad at expressing it at the time, I really enjoyed the group and wanted to help see it succeed. I got myself a Dazzle capture card. Yeah, this is really dated right here. Also came with the editing software Pinnacle Studio, which was really bad, but it was the Stone Ages of YouTube, and I was like, what, 13 years old? So I had to work with what I got. Which then I began editing/recording gameplay for us to commentate over. For the most part, I'm self-taught in editing, which started with these initial videos. My efforts weren't exactly great right here, but it laid the groundwork for me to improve and get better later on. All thanks to Pluto's poop. Question from Carson. If you had to choose one waifu to spend the rest of your life with, who would it be? If I had to choose one, no, 0. I choose 0. Definitely 0. Questions from long-haired Dora. What are some of your favorite movies? I'm a big fan of Tarantino. I've loved a lot of his movies, from Kill Bill to Reservoir Dogs to, of course, Pulp Fiction. Edgar Wright is another good one, with like Baby Driver, Scott Pilgrim, Shaun of the Dead. I've watched basically every cinematic Batman movie, and my favorites would have to be Dark Knight and Joker. I've also enjoyed the original Star Wars, the Toy Story movies, Little Miss Sunshine, Fight Club, SpongeBob SquarePants. There's also Spirited Away. One of my favorites from recent memory is the movie Your Name. I got to watch that movie for $2. I would gladly shell out way more for that movie. It was really good. What's your favorite childhood memory? I can't think of anything. I like the part where it ended. There are all the times waiting for Christmas and for Santa to show up, and then of course I realized he wasn't real, like Australia and the Queen of England. Moments like getting the Nintendo Wii, getting the Nintendo GameCube, waiting for Super Smash Bros. Brawl with my one friend at the time, which really helped to get through middle school. Going to different amusement parks, going to Disney World for the first time, going to see my little sister who had just been born. Just a lot of different things like that here and there, you know, it's been a long time. Any dream places you'd want to visit? The obvious weeb answer is of course Japan. I of course want to see the world. You know, I was really big into world history and learning about different cultures and history in general. I've already visited Canada. I would want to check out all the different states. Texas, Hawaii, California. Lots of places alongside the West Coast since I've been cooped up on the East Coast for all my life. Places in Europe I'd be interested in. I've got a couple of friends in like England, for example. Traveling is a hefty cost, but it would be great to be able to meet all y'all. Akihiko. I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for this. Question from Jake. Do you think there's something to be learned from playing video games? You can definitely learn a lot, not just from educational games. Being interactive, it may be the best medium to learn stuff from. Lessons to be learned from stories, motor skills, and creativity from gameplay. Games are multifaceted, and being the one in control allows for a much more engaging experience than one provided from a TV show, a movie, or a book. Not to mention that some games are also just movies or books or simulations of real life, but with more, cause they have layers. From Boo. Any games/franchises that are connected to strong memories. Games from my youth. A lot of things Nintendo like Mario and Pokemans, primarily from the GameCube/Wii era, but also quite a few retro games from NES to N64. The hype leading up to Brawl's release was once again unreal. In terms of specific ones, Spyro the Dragon is the first one I remember playing. Saints Row 2 is the one that really helped me grow as a person. I met my friend Chris, or as some of you guys know him, Chex, on Animal Crossing City Folk, and he's been my longest lasting friend, over 10 years now. So that game is special, alongside a lot of the games that we played and got into shenanigans together.
I'm distracting them. I'm doing good.
What the There are a couple of games/series I got into because of some Let's Players that I watched growing up, like Mother 3 or Ratchet & Clank. Them visual novel games will always have a special place in my heart/areola area. And of course, a lot of games that we played on stream have created more recent but very much strong memories. 2017 is a year that will always stick out in my mind in terms of games, because not only was it the launch year of the Switch, it was just an amazing year for games in general. I actually got to go to an event in New York and got a hands-on preview of the Switch and some of the games because of my connection to GameStop. I worked at the Stop Game for the entirety of 2017, and yeah, that was probably one of the best years to work for that company because of all the amazing releases and everything I got to do because of them. Which character would I erase from the history of video games? Fucking Bubsy. Who/what are your greatest inspirations in any area of your life/channel for all the different stuff that I do? In terms of writing stories, inspirations include Tarantino, Fullmetal Alchemist, the late Monty I grew up watching tons of SpongeBob, Futurama, and classic Simpsons, which developed my sense of humor and also myself personally. Then of course you got all the big YouTuber inspirations, cause I've been on this site since the beginning basically. For gaming, there are Let's Players like the Runaway Guys, Video Game is Awesome, reviewers from Normal Boots and Hidden Block like Peanut Butter Gamer, Cat Icarus, Brutal Moose. Then of course you got the original, the Angry Video Game Nerd. Ray Narvaez Jr., also known as Brown Man for streaming. There's also general YouTubers like Critical, Ryan Higa, Bart and Joe from Just Kidding Films, Just Kidding Party, my main man, Jesus Christ. Folks in the Smash Brothers scene like Mewtwo King, D1, EE, Nairo, Miyamoto, Reggie, and Iwata, the old Triforce of Nintendo. Voice acting includes people like Little Karibo and Shady Box, alongside a lot of names in the field, like Laura Bailey, Tara Strong, and Yuri Lowenthal. Famous cosplayer Ed of Voring Harmonica for cosplay stuff and also news tips. Stanley and Steven Hillenberg are just general inspirational people. There's my broadcast media teacher who taught me a lot about the field, my friend Tivo, who is just an all-around amazing and inspirational person, and my friend Chex, who is like a big brother to me, helped me through a lot of critical times, and just taught me a lot about how not to be dumb. Also Waluigi. Questions from Jojo. Let me smash Nessa.
No.
Can we be long-distance twins? Sure, I can be Junko, and you can be that other Junko. Are you gay?
No.
Am I gay? Joker.
He wields a gun.
Favorite JoJo and favorite stand-up. Joseph Joestar.
Nah!
Magician's Red and basically all the ones from Part 5. Specific shoutouts go to Grateful Dead, White Album, and Metallica. I also really enjoy Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. I also really enjoy Filthy Acts at a Reasonable Price. Want to collab sometime? You have Uno. You want my Nanami cosplay? Chiaki plays Uno. Do robots have nipples? Brooke Tilton, if you did not become a YouTuber, what would you do as a career? I would have become an actor, a voice actor, or a comic book / story writer, an entertainer of sorts, or the one editing things behind the scenes. Why does everyone want me? Because of my war crimes on the battlefield. What are the best and worst ways to die? Worst is Nintendo Switch Joy-Con drift, and the best is death by Snoo Snoo. Best SpongeBob episode. So many of them are good. But Band Geeks is legendary. What are you looking most forward to in 2020? For it to be over. KGOKev will be here all week. Now, a word from our sponsors.
Let's play Rage.
Tsuchi Gomori. Was anything spoiled for you before you played Danganronpa? I've actually been able to get through the majority of Danganronpa spoiler-free, which is an amazing feat considering spoilers are all over the internet. Going into Danganronpa 1, the only things I really knew were the general basis of the plot, also killer teddy bears, and also that there existed a character named Sakura. That was basically it. I thankfully did not know any of the major plot points, which are pretty common knowledge at this point, so I was able to experience the game and its story to its fullest. Pink Penguin. How did you start playing Smash Bros? It's probably around when I was like 6 or 7. I was over at my friend's house, and we wanted to play some games, right? He just so happened to have Smash Bros, and I was like, hell yeah, homie, let's play that shit! We played the classic 4 players on Hyrule Temple, of course, and first time playing, little kid, about what you would expect. But I was instantly hooked. It was like instantly appealing because it had all these different Nintendo characters, you know? It had Mario, it had Pikachu, it had Long Tingle, Barney the Dinosaur, Captain Crunch. So like, yeah, of course I wanted the game myself. I got not just Melee, but also 64, and then Brawl when that came out. You know, the hype for Brawl coming out, Sonic getting announced for it, that was probably like the highlight of my life. You know, at that point of my sad, pathetic childhood. That was my introduction to the game. But I really started playing and getting really into it around the time of when Super Smash Bros. Brawl was coming out. I had a babysitter who would come over and bring some of his games with him, like Smash Bros. Melee, Super Mario Sunshine, Tales Symphonia, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. I played it mostly for the single-player stuff at first, but I started taking it more seriously and got into competitive in high school when they were having tournaments, starting with Brawl and then transitioning into Smash 4. Alright, a lot of people have asked about music. Favorite genre of music, bands, or songs? So when I was growing up, I literally had no taste in music whatsoever. The first playlist I ever made, which was probably around, maybe like 8 or 9, was filled with nothing but meme songs like Rickroll, I'm Blue, Crazy Frog. Once again back to Saints Row 2, where I really started developing a taste in music and found songs / artists that I liked, including bands such as Paramore, Muse, Hispanic at the Disco, Revolution, which then led into others like Gorillaz, Nirvana, Daft Punk, The Offspring, Sublime, hardcore gangster rap, a lot of good 80s music in that game, which is now one of my favorite types of music out there. The track list of songs in Saints Row 2 is still probably one of the best ever conceived in a video game. I've always appreciated music from video games. Some groups like Starship Amazing, or Anamanaguchi, who were the ones who did the soundtrack for the Scott Pilgrim game, have a super excellent retro music vibe. There's also my friends, Break Stuff Steal Things. Definitely check them out. I'm playing one of their songs right now, actually. Nintendo has all the classic tunes. But you also can't beat Mega Man music, alongside a lot of Capcom stuff in general. Specific songs include Fly Me to the Moon, Frankie Valli, Can't Take My Eyes Off of You, and more recently, Plastic Love by Maria Takeuchi. That and the entirety of that future funk spectrum. Oh, just absolutely fantastic. I'm not the kind of person to denote any bands or genres of music. I like to stay open-minded about these things alongside just obviously things in general, because as you guys all know, it's better to appreciate and try to experience everything, rather than shutting yourself away from discovering something you might love and adore. I dislike Nickelback because everyone else told me to. Graph. I find myself really enjoying reggaeton type songs. I've done Zumba quite a bit, and San Juan Sounds was the radio station I had on for GTA 4 when I played non-stop. I've become quite appreciative of all different kinds of music, and am open to hearing new things. So if you guys have any recommendations for bands, songs, or genres, feel free to share them in the comments for me to check a look. Question from Ray. Favorite book or manga series? I grew up reading Full Metal Alchemist and also Death Note, so those two will always have a special place in my heart. JoJo's pretty good.
Nice!
I also have fond memories of Scott Pilgrim. I got into that thanks to the movie and the game at the time. The Ace Attorney mangas are also pretty fun, just like, romps to read through. I've also quite enjoyed what I read of the Yu-Gi-Oh manga, because it is highly different from what you see in the 4Kids anime. Because Yu-Gi fucking kills people! Another good one that I grew up with was the Pokemon Special or Pokemon Adventures manga. A really good, darker rendition of, like, the Pokemon series. I read it when the Diamond and Pearl chapters were still coming out, though I honestly started to lose interest during the Emerald arc. Things just started to get really, really weird, and both the main protagonist and the villain for that arc were just really, really unlikable in my opinion. But otherwise, yeah, just good memories all around. Question from Pencil, have you played Kid Icarus? Yes, I have. The original NES one, the Game Boy one, and Uprising, which definitely needs a Switch port, by the way. And also more Palutena. Question from Peter, if you could have influenced the Danganronpa games, a character you would stop from being killed from each of the main titles. Easy peasy, I would choose Ishimaru, Mahiru, and Cork. One of my most hated things in anything is wasted potential. And yeah, these three characters were ones that had much more to give to the plot, or just deserved better treatment than what they got. You always gotta think about what it would be like if certain characters survived that didn't. You can actually see that from Mahiru. There was a fanfiction, I believe it was called System Restore. It's been a long time since I read that, but from what I recall, it was really, really good, especially at giving characters who died early on the chance to Kimi ga shine. Question from Flan Icarus. My opinion on the recent Digimon games. I have not played any of the recent Digimon games, so I don't have a valid opinion on them. But whereas Pokemon is stagnating and becoming increasingly bare bones as a series, I hear that the Digimon games are innovating and are packed with tons of content. So if Pokemans doesn't scratch the itch of monster collecting anymore, I may have to give those games a try. Canadian Poutine, if you can drink a drink, can you food a food? Do you want to stick this thing in your mouth? Question from Chaco. Second best ship besides Hagakure and Yamada. You watching this right now, and happiness. Aww. Or Kyutaro Xgashu. From Shion, how long does it take to edit your videos? For the Meet the Characters videos, V3 and Your Turn to Die, total amount of work hours should be around probably 2 days for both, so yeah, 48 hours I would say for each of them. Those are big projects that take a lot of care and attention. Other videos I've been able to do a lot faster. Vids like the Your Turn to Die Hunger Games or the Ninja Sex Party Komahina videos would probably be around like a day's worth of editing, and then stuff like the Ed Ed Netty executions or some voicing harmony videos that I've done range from around like 10 to 2 hours. I am of course just talking about time actually editing. It can often take longer than that though, because 1, I'm a perfectionist when it comes to things I actually care about, and 2, I suffer from some pretty crippling ADHD. I usually hate saying that I do because a lot of people misuse and misdiagnose themselves with it, so the definition is all skewed, and it's hard to want to associate myself with that. But yeah, it's pretty bad. And I always have to fight against myself and my own nature to be able to get anything done, including videos. It's a hard thing to deal with, but I am working on it. And hopefully then we'll be able to do more and also be more consistent. I always run into the problem of over-editing, which for me means constantly feeling the need to switch what's occurring on screen, and always feeling like I need to add in edits, like 5 wieners flying all over the screen, or something equivalent to that, like every 5 seconds, when oftentimes it's actually really unnecessary. I can leave the screen up as like a single image or single video, and the viewers will be satisfied with that. But I always feel compelled to do more than necessary, cause during the editing process, I always feel like I'm gonna lose people's attention and I guess intrinsically my own, unless I do all these things, which in turn causes it to take extra time. And I often have to force myself to be quote-unquote lazy, and sometimes leave a clip of something on screen for an extended period of time, just to be able to get something out, which pains me, but ultimately it's for the better. To go a bit meta, this video itself has taken way longer to get done than it should be, because of all these problems that I've stated. And it is a bit infuriating because it is just kinda dumb. But that's why we're working on it. From Carson, if there was anything you could tell your past self since you started, what would it be? Things get better. Bad times are only for now. Invest in Bitcoin. Buy more Animal Crossing amiibo cards. Question from Egg. What is it like being a streamer, and would I consider doing this full time? Being a streamer is a lot of fun. It's great to be able to play a game and have other people watch it, while also in turn being able to enthuse with them and also experience the game in general. It's kinda like being on stage for like a play. I have a background in acting/public speaking, so while at first most people might find it nerve-wracking, I would say I was right at home and in my element. It's of course also a two-way street though. While you get the chance to meet really cool people, you also have to deal with hecklers and just degenerate people every now and then. Like during my Pokemon playthrough, which I still need to get up, I had like 25 racists come in at the end of the stream who just spammed the N-word and other racist stuff like constantly. Cause I guess they had nothing better to do with their lives at that point. It became fun though. Me and my mods turned into a game. Again, we banned like 25 people that day. KGOKev ended racism. Hell yeah. I have considered doing this full time. That is of course still something that's gonna have to be a bit more down the line. Since I try to do both edited videos alongside streaming, it's hard to achieve a level of consistency for me at the moment to be able to make that goal a reality. As things are right now, whenever I try to do an edited video, my ability to stream suffers and then vice versa. Right now it's like I can only focus on one or the other at a time. But I hope to be able to achieve a balance between the two so I can keep doing them both. Being a streamer also helps to schedule your day-to-day. I'm super conscious when it comes to time zones, because I know everyone's from a different location, and thus not everyone's going to be able to make the streams. So I try to find times to do so that are feasible for the majority of people. There's a lot of multitasking as well. Not only do I have to pay attention to the game screen, I also need to keep up with the chat, answer questions, glance over at OBS to make sure everything's running smoothly, while also providing commentary and occasionally doing voices. It can be a lot, and occasionally mistakes occur. One of my biggest fears when it comes to being a streamer is that as we keep growing, the chat becomes harder and harder to keep up with. Starting out when it was a smaller gathering of people coming to the streams and such, it was easier to get to know and be personable with people. As the audience gets larger and larger, that becomes much harder to do, as seen from say the Failboat raid or the My Penis playthrough. There comes a point when the relationship between a streamer and a viewer becomes really one way, and it will be unfortunate if the day comes where I see all these new names and faces, but I won't be able to get to know any of them. As a streamer, you also go through the dilemma of having to choose between playing games that you want to play versus games that are relevant that just came out, or ones that'll end up increasing your popularity. Ultimately, whichever route you choose, you gotta remember to have fun with it. Entity asks, how much would you pay to see an illustrated comic of the Q-Taro fanfiction? What Q-Taro fanfiction? There is no Q-Taro fanfiction in Bossing say. Also, what's the video you are most proud of? The answer will always have to be the Meet the Characters videos, both V3 and Your Turn to Die. Those are the ones that I just dedicated myself the most to, you know? Like many sleepless nights. All of my blood, sweat, tears, mostly blood, and also some other fluids we don't talk about went into the making of those videos. Most of you guys probably wouldn't be here now asking me these questions if I never posted or decided to make those videos. I would have to give the point over to the Your Turn to Die one personally. There's a couple things in the V3 one that I feel could have been done a lot better, of course. Also due to recency bias and just the fact that, yeah, in all, I'd definitely say that the Your Turn to Die one is the better video. But I will always have a special place in my heart for the V3 one, because that literally is a video that has more or less helped to change my life for the better. It opened up a ton of opportunities for me, and it introduced me to a ton of really awesome people that are gonna be friends for a long time. Nah, I'm just goofing y'all. Backdoorsmut.exe. And with that, guys, that should do it for the Q&A. Thank you to everyone who submitted questions. I hope you had a fantastic time. This was meant to be the 5K celebration, which we're past that now. And this is going to be the first of a couple celebrations we'll be doing in the near future. All different kinds of stuff. Also, probably won't be doing another Q&A vid like this, at least not for a little while. If you guys have any questions you want to ask me or follow-ups to stuff said in the vid, feel free to leave them in the comments. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, click, and all that, and I hope to catch y'all later on anything else we do. With all that said, this is KGOPro, or Kev, signing out. Stay chill, and peace out for now.